Hey everyone, welcome back to the Trendcrusher podcast. I'm your host, Peter K, aka Trendcrusher. And after last week's interview with Beyond Street of Soilwork, I'm back with another melodic death metal band. This time it's Amon Amarth. So I had a chance to speak to the bassist of the band, Ted Lundstrom, about their latest album, The Great Heathen Army, which is their 12th album. Now, I cannot believe they've been around for 30 years. So, I jumped on the chance to talk to him about the album, touring, beer. Yeah, he enjoys his beer. Before we get into my chat, hit subscribe below because there are a lot more interviews like this coming up. So keep checking it out. So let's just dive straight into my chat with Ted. Right. And I'm joined by Ted Lundstrom, the bassist of Amon Amarth, the mighty Amon Amarth, I must add. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and it's so great to speak to you. I mean, you guys are on the cusp of releasing your 12th album, The Great Heathen Army. And, as someone who grew up listening to and was actually kind of introduced to a lot of melodic death metal thanks to Amon Amarth, it's great to kind of speak to you. How does it feel like releasing your 12th album almost?
Yeah, it's kind of unreal when you think about it. When we started way back, we had no idea we would be playing this far into the future. But yeah, we're enjoying it full time. It's just such a great feeling to be able to still do this, and especially now after the Corona, when we can finally get back out playing after this extra long break we had. So yeah, we're super excited. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and I love how you've put it as an extra long break and nothing else, right? Because everyone has a different take on it. So I really love this optimistic take you have. And just to kind of dive in before we get into the music, right? I mean, I still remember listening to Amon Amarth and being like enamored not just with the music, but the entire concept and the album, the artwork, and stuff like that. And over the last 10 to 15 years, I've seen you guys take it from strength to strength. I mean, just looking at your sheer production that you all put up on stage right now, I mean, that's definitely like money's worth, just coming in and attending a show like that. Is that kind of the approach that you all take also to the music now? It's not just about having just the music, right? Because it's the complete package. How do you kind of put the stage production, the artwork, the merchandise?
Yeah, it's totally, that's totally how we think. When we think music, we want to have more, because I mean, an album, that's great to listen to, but we also want to have like you say, artwork and stage show. We write music more like a movie soundtrack idea, basically. We have that feeling in the back of our head when we write music, and we also think about the live shows. How's this gonna look? And you when you buy a ticket to the show, you buy a ticket for an event, not only listen to music. You're in there for it's got to be the whole package, and that's how we love to listen to and watch music with bands like Kiss and Iron Maiden, bands like we grew up with, and we want to do that in our way.
Awesome. So take me back. I mean, like one of the things I really enjoyed, like I said, right, was just the concepts. And as someone growing up in India and you don't know much about the Vikings or the kind of story and things like that, it was really cool to kind of learn that. And your last album, The Berserker, was, if I'm not mistaken, a concept album. So what was the initial ideas for the Great Heathen Army? Like, how did you all kind of start off with? What is the initial spark that you all had for the album?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we it's hard to say how this is, because it was a bit different situation with the Corona. Because we expected the Corona to be maybe just 6 months or something like that, because we were in the middle of touring for the Berserker album, and then the Corona hit us in the middle of that. So we missed a lot of touring for that album. So when we got back, we didn't really think about starting a new album, because we thought we were still on the last album. But then we kind of slowly realized that it's not going to happen. So we might as well start the new album. So we started gathering ideas again, and basically the same way we always do. So it was not big difference for us. Actually, the Corona didn't make a big difference, except that we had more time to relax first and have a fresh start. And then we just started writing riffs, and then Johan came up with different, lyric ideas, and then we kind of like we put that together when we meet up, and we make an album.
Yeah.
Easy.
And I love how, like, I guess this is what happens when you're releasing your 12th album, right? It's all easy at this point. It's just like muscle memory kind of working in. So since you brought about Johan coming up with the lyrics and stuff, I definitely have to ask, is from your press release, right? I'm just going to quote him, where he said, song by song, I think this might be the strongest album. Sorry, song by song, I think this might be the strongest albums we've ever made. It was difficult to agree on the singles for the videos because everyone had different opinions. I think that's a good sign. So since I have you, Ted, what was your pick for the single of the album, and tell us why at least?
Yeah, my choice, as I remember it, for the first single, like to present the album, I wanted to have the title track, because that's like in your face. It has really groovy, heavy start, kind of like Slipknot-ish chug on the guitars, and then it goes into it's got a lot of energy, and it's got a great chorus in the end. When you repeat the Great Heathen Army, it gets me into that kind of live mode where you want to sing along with the fist in the air. So I thought that was kind of the great opening to present a new album. So that was my first choice. But as he said, we worked with an album for maybe a year and a half before we even record it, and then we record it, and so we heard the songs a million times, and sometimes you get blind a little bit. You don't really know. So we usually play the album for friends and people in the industry after we recorded it to see their opinion, because sometimes we get lost, in our own emotions for the song. So it's that's why it's tricky, and everybody have different favorite songs, and then you have to agree on the first single, the second single, and the album release day song. So it's it's always tricky for us.
No, I totally agree. I mean, as any person who's in a creative field, right, you get so subjective about something. It's really hard to be objective, especially about your own work. So I totally understand where you're coming from. And quickly, I want to touch upon one thing, which is the music videos, right? Because as I said, like the scale of Amon Amarth has kind of increased. You guys are no longer just making like music videos, which are 5 guys, 6 guys in a basement kind of playing, right? You're doing like proper mini feature films or movies. How does like that feel? Like, is that a process you really enjoy? Because I think that again encompasses part of the package, right? For a band, like I'm just trying to think as a 15-year-old, if I discovered Amon Amarth like that, I would totally lose my mind just watching those videos.
Yeah, no, but it is how you say, you don't want to have 10 videos in a row where you just stand just playing your instruments. That could be fun for a few videos, but then we want to have fun too, making those videos and planning the ideas for the videos. That's part of the fun. So we had a great time for this album, coming up with ideas for videos, and we were bouncing ideas with different video directors, to try to find something that's, because you also have a budget you have to stay within, and see what can we do for this budget, and how can we make the coolest video so people will want to watch it more than one time.
Yeah, and it's truly fun. I think like when I go back to like watching Painkiller, Judas Priest on TV and stuff like that, for me it feels like that very similar thing now, just stumbling on YouTube, right? Because that's basically what YouTube is, what MTV and Channel V and all the other music channels are like. But you know what? I'm going to do a quick segue, because it's great to talk to you about music. But from what I've understood, there's another thing that you really enjoy. And I think it's not just you, it's also the band, which is beer. And
Yeah.
I think I was reading that Amon Amarth did a collaboration with Three Floyds Brewing, and you all did 3 beers, which was Ragnarok, Skål, and Haiti. Uh, Personally,
Yeah.
tell me about that. I mean, like, I think like metal and beer go hand in hand in there. And just talking about the live shows again, what are some of the beers? Because I think that's one of the cool things about touring around the world, right? You get to enjoy different beers and try the different beers. So any highlights, anything that have stood out for you?
Well, I mean, it's just I'm a big fan of American style, you know, the IPAs and stuff, but also
Nice.
I'm into more dark, heavy stouts, imperial stouts, and there are so many great places, especially when we tour America. You know, we always get to visit the different breweries and meet people, because a lot of brewers at least used to be in the back in time. It was kind of like brewing these real cool beers. That's kind of it was kind of underground in a way. So the guys from Three Floyds, they were like metalheads, started brewing beer, and they had the same kind of like inspiration we have when we make music. So they also want to have the coolest beer with the nicest package, and you know, and they don't care, they don't want to sell it to the whole world. They want to sell it to people who really enjoy it. So it's kind of like underground feeling. That's how we met them in the first place. Three Floyds,
Nice.
you know, they were metalheads, and we started, you know, meeting every time we were in their in their hoods, and this grew into making a beer, and you know, and it continued that way, you know, and hopefully we can do more collaborations in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool just to see, especially since it's a very seamless fit, right? It's not something like you guys selling like, I don't know, bobbleheads or something like that. Although, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, is there an Amon Amarth bobblehead or action figures as yet?
yeah, there was something way back we did for a special edition. It was a
Nice.
crazy fun idea we had. So, but it was they were of poor quality. Many of them broke before they reached
Oh, damn.
their buy. No, but it was great. It was fun though. You know,
Yeah,
you have to you want to be serious with your business, but you also want to have fun sometimes. So I
yeah,
think we try to stay on a nice level, you know, on seriousness, but also having fun and enjoying life.
yeah. No, so since I want to stick to time, right? I definitely want to
Yeah,
ask you, because you brought up touring and touring America, because you've got a lot of touring ahead, if I'm not mistaken. You've got the North American tour with Carcass, Obituary, and Cattle Decapitation. You've got a European tour also coming in. And just to kind of add to the fact that you said like your Berserker tour kind of got cut short. So what's it going to be like when you kind of put together a set list of sorts, because there's so much music, right? I mean, you've got 12 albums literally to kind of do, and so many of them are live favorites.
yeah. I mean, it's super tricky. That's even more tricky than choosing the videos for the singles for an album, because it's we got so many songs now. We're up to over 100, probably
Wow.
almost 200 songs over our career. So yeah, it's really tricky to find something, and you want you all fans happy. The fans have been with you for since the start, and the new fans maybe come for the last album, and it's really tricky to squeeze that into one 90-minute show. You know, it's impossible to make everybody happy, and ourselves too. So yeah, it's tricky situation we have, but it's also, I mean, it's kind of a nice problem to have. You know, it could be the other
True.
way around.
True. Okay, so I know we've got a short chat, but I definitely want to get this question in before we say our goodbyes. Is 30 years, 12 albums? You talked about beer collaborations. You talked about action figures. What's left for Amon Amarth to achieve? Or like, is that something you'll have thought about at all?
Nah, usually all these things that they're usually just crazy ideas that pop up, and then we say, yeah, oh, let's do this. So we of course we have dreams, you know, what you want to achieve as a band, but that's usually like to grow more so you can play in more places and bigger venues and have cooler stage shows. But I mean, whatever comes up and we think is fun, we try to make it happen. So we will see what the future has for us.
Awesome. So here's me on my parting note, wishing that Amon Amarth makes another trip to India and plays, because it's been a while since you guys played here. So hopefully that happens soon. And I wish you all the best success for your upcoming album, The Great Heathen Army. Thanks so much, Ted.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm pretty sure we will come back to India. We had India on the list for the Berserker before the Corona, so now
Whoa.
we will have to make it happen. So
Awesome.
we will probably come.
Awesome. Awesome. Looking forward to that. All right. And that was Ted Lundstrom of the mighty Amon Amarth. It was a short chat, but definitely something I'm going to remember. Just the way he kind of described them making the music. And, I'm really looking forward to what more Amon Amarth has in store. And of course, since I live in India, I'm definitely looking forward to them coming down here. So that's all from me. Like I said at the start, hit subscribe and definitely stay tuned for more such interviews. Cheers, everyone.